All right. Meeting is now streaming. It took a little bit of time, more time than normal. I'm Judy Herman. I'm so glad that you joined me. I want to talk with you today. And especially, I want to talk with those who are either relationship coaches, those who are mental health professionals, anyone who works closely with other people and you help them in some core places of your being. So I'm Judy Herman, author and counselor and speaker, and I'm also, I've written a book called Beyond Messy Relationships. But I want to speak especially to those who are in the mental health field in some way, shape, or form, because it is counseling. It's not just Counseling Awareness Month like it was last month. We talked about that. I wanted to take the mystery out of counseling for those who need to know more about this. But this month, I really want to talk to mental health therapists and coaches, and what I believe are radical ways to approach Mental Health Awareness Month, and what every therapist and coach needs to know. Because, I'm learning a whole lot myself, and I know we are in a profession that requires us to learn and to grow, but not only requires us, we get to grow. We get to know more about ourselves. We get to discover the hidden meaning or the hidden parts of ourselves. And that's the beauty of being in this profession. I was talking recently with a colleague who had been at a organization for quite some time. And just in this passing comment, I can't even remember what the conversation was about, but what came out was very interesting to me. And he said, God forbid if I fail. And I kind of wanted to back up. What do you mean? But I didn't go in that direction because this was another person in the mental health field. But my goodness, we are human beings and we are mental health professionals. We're coaches, but we need to give ourselves permission to be human beings. And yes, we will fail. And if we don't, we're going to live a very small life. If we don't see failure as a stepping stone towards success, then we're going to breed that kind of an attitude into our clients. And then they're going to live a very small life. So the point being is a radical way to approach Mental Health Awareness Month is, number one, perspective matters. Perspective matters. And here's what I mean by that. If you're afraid and you move through life afraid to do this or that or the other thing, or to think outside the box, or to learn from others, or to realize, yes, this is human to be this way, we miss out and we live this very small life. It's kind of like we might get in our reactive mode, which I talked about, being in the reptile mode, right? But then after being in that reptile mode, then we're going to have a story in our heads about that thing. And then it's going to be like we're using these glasses. These are orange colored goggles, and everything now that I put on, everything looks shaded in that way. So what I'm saying is, it's important. You know what? And yeah, it's important for us. You know what? I put I put these glasses on, and I didn't see that my camera was lit up, and so therefore, like, I paused a minute because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm on, but yeah, I am on. So what I'm saying is, these color how we see the world, how we see ourselves, how we see our clients. One thing that has been very helpful to me over the years has been this. As a counselor in private practice since 2006, I have been intentional, and it's been very true for me, but I've been intentional to see every person who walks through the door of my counseling office, who makes that phone call, or who writes an email or registers. They are a divine appointment. They are a divine appointment from God. So in other words, I'm not going to see them as a diagnosis. I'm going to see them as a human being, even though, yes, we need to give diagnoses, right? And then, yes, then we use this method with which to get reimbursed by insurance companies. But that's not what this is about. This is about being able to see and have the perception that every person that you deal with is a divine appointment from God. They are there for a reason in your life, as your client. And it might be to have you discover, well, I'm not really energized when I work with this type of person with this type of a problem, and I need to go in this direction. Anyway, we need to change our perspective about people and about who we see. We need to change it about our perspectives. We need to change it about mental health, period. Because if we focus on that person's problem, and I did address this. This is something I feel very passionate and strong about. But my book, Beyond Messy Relationships, and those of you that read the book, my second husband had bipolar disorder. And so it really bothered me that people would say he's bipolar, she's bipolar. In other words, identifying that person as the illness or as the thing that they have. People are so much more than that, and we need to keep that in our perspective. So perspective really does matter. And it's really good to grow your perspective outside your own thinking. And that's going to make a huge difference on the effectiveness of you as a counselor, of you as a relationship coach, or whatever area that you're working on. Now, recently, here's another thing I wanted to share, another example. You know, we've been through the pandemic for over a year now, right? And we're getting ready to go into that post-pandemic era. And some people have really seen this whole thing as, you know, scared, rising up, you know, in anger if you don't get the shot or you do get the shot. I mean, it just has caused such division. And we can get caught up in that, can't we? We can get caught up in that, in our thinking, in our perspective. But if we see that this whole pandemic has been a divine invitation, it's a divine invitation to shift in our thinking, to shift in the ways that we have been operating, to make some necessary changes. For me, it's been rather a blessing to be able to connect with people on the other side of the world. No, I have not traveled to the other side of the world in the last several months, but I have connected with some amazing people on the other side of the world. And it's beautiful because it's actually widened my world. Now, recently, I've got to tell you, you're going to explain some of my ignorance here and my own limited thinking, but one of my friends from Great Britain said, "Happy Mother's Day, Judy." Well, this was, I guess, in April. It might have been the end of March. And I thought, no, it's not Mother's Day. Well, it was Mother's Day in her country. Yeah. And here we are going to celebrate Mother's Day here in the United States on Sunday. And this week I am really wanting to focus on maternal wellness this week, but for the whole month, it's mental health awareness, right? But it broadened my perspective. Well, why didn't I know that before? Is because I've been living in the United States in the belt buckle of the Bible Belt South for so long. And my perspective is that. So that's why I really love learning from other people, learning from other cultures. And I am so excited because I just made reservations to go to Mexico coming up soon with my mastermind group. And I just can't wait. I am so excited about that. So perspective does matter. And number two, plan to keep on growing. If you've been in a group practice for years and years and years, and you no longer have passion in that group practice, or if you've been in any kind of organization for a long time, and it's just Groundhog Day each year, each day, and you've lost your passion, plan to grow, plan to widen your perspective, and plan to consider moving on. I got to tell you, moving on in a bigger perspective. Okay, that's what I mean by that. I know I'm going all over the place today. What I want to share with you is, yes, it was March of 2020 that I have not been in the brick and mortar of my counseling practice. And then I have let go of that practice, of that brick and mortar, I should say. And I'm seeing clients virtually or face to face. And at this point, I wouldn't go back. I would not go back because I loved, especially the face-to-face outdoors. But you see, I'm doing other things. I'm doing the speaking, I'm doing the writing, I'm connecting with people all over the world. I'm getting my message out. And this is a perspective I did not have before, somewhat before COVID. simply because a lot of my clientele have been business owners, and they've actually widened my perspective. My own clients have, right? Business owners, entrepreneurs, people of influence, and high achievers. Okay. They really widened my perspective. And so whoever it is you're hanging out with and who you're hearing, you know, I want to challenge you to keep on growing, keep on hanging out with people who challenge you to think beyond the four walls of your counseling office or the four walls of your work. Okay. So those are some things I want to share with you. Yes, actually, and I bought a globe ball here just to get me like inspired. I want to travel and see the world. I have very limited, I've got to admit, got very limited international experience. And here I'm hanging out with people who are fluent in 4 and 5 different languages. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So I just want to share with you some of the things that are going on. And just to let you know, let's plan on Mental Health Awareness Month, really approaching it with, first of all, not identifying people by their diagnosis, but instead tapping into their strengths. And then growing our perspective, because our perspective matters, and to keep on growing and realizing that we have limited awareness. That's one thing I talk about in my book a lot. Breathing in fresh air, awareness, intentionality, and then the risks of growth. All right. So the things that are coming up, first of all, if you've not read my book, you can get it where books are sold, or you can get an author signed copy if you have a United States address. And you can go on my website, judycounselor.com. And then also I have a From Calm to Chaos group that I would love for you to look at. It's for local folks, but you know what? We are really soon going to be offering this for those outside of our local area and do this as a coaching group. And I'm so excited about it. So tap into those resources. Oh, yes. If you are a therapist and you're on insurance panels, I am so blessed to tell you that on May the 7th, it's a podcast that's being released by the private practice startup. That's Kate and Katie's podcast. They have a huge platform and they've got an awesome Facebook group. So join the Facebook group, tap into that podcast. And also if you're a therapist, I would like also to give you a special invite to the Vibrantly Authentic Therapist and Coaches Facebook group. So yes, join me there. I'm going to be showing up a whole lot more than I have. And we're going to help each other to grow through this. Get ready for this post-pandemic era, because a lot of things have shifted, but we as people helpers, we want to keep on growing, taking those risks of growth. All right, because you're so worth it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.